lawmakers of Solomon Islands have elected their foreign minister, Jeremiah Manele, as their new prime minister through a secret ballot system today. Now, one of the crucial turning points that get highlighted with this development is the new prime minister's pledge to continue the Pacific Island nation's foreign policy of growing closer to China. Listen in to what the prime minister had to say about this.
We as a country continue on the recovery path after the COVID-19 global pandemic and 2021 riots. The recent report by the central bank on the state of our economy is concerning and calls for a more focused and aggressive approach. It is not an easy task, but we will be reaching out to all relevant stakeholders as we progress on our road to recovery.
Well, one of the major stakeholders that he mentions about in this particular reaction is China. Now, who is Jeremiah Manele? Manele is a former diplomat and had joined the parliament back in 2014. He then travelled to China as their foreign minister in 2019 to formalize the Solomon Islands switch in diplomatic ties from Taiwan to Beijing. Now, this is a rather important development with regards to the geopolitical situation in the Indo-Pacific region. Because remember, in the recent times, we have seen pro-China governments come to power in several such island nations in the Southeast Pacific region. In fact, take a look at one of those crucial regions. Among them, the most prominent ones was the Maldives government. President Mohamed Muizzu's ruling pro-China party had secured a landslide victory. And this victory had fueled speculation over the acceleration of a shift towards China and away from their traditional ally of China. Now, consequences of this victory could be seen in the form of a diplomatically tense situation developing between India and Maldives, as the new government led by President Muizzu had requested for the withdrawal of Indian troops from Maldives. Now, this is the particular map that we've just shown you. Now, both India and China in the map that we just showed you have always had eyes on their political developments unfolding in this rather strategically placed island of Maldives. In fact, right after the elections, when President Muizzu had come to power, a spokesperson for China's foreign ministry had officially made a statement about China being eager to maintain their traditional friendship between the two countries in order to expand their exchanges and cooperation in various fields and deepen the comprehensive strategic partnership, according to the reports of China's Global Times newspaper. Now, while this is Maldives, let's get into the entire context of the matter, because these are the other islands that we'll take a closer look at, the ones on your screen right now. Let's look at the relations existing between China and these 10 Pacific Island countries. These include Cook Islands, Kiribati, Nauru, Niue, Papua New Guinea, Samoa, Solomon Islands, Tonga, Tuvalu and Vanuatu. Among these 10, there are 6 nations that have even ratified the agreement, which include Cook Island, Nauru, Niue, Samoa, Tonga and Vanuatu. Now, if we look at the establishment of these diplomatic ties, they date back to as early as the 1970s. China and these Pacific Indian countries have continued to expand their exchanges and cooperation in more than 20 areas that comprise of trade, investment, ocean affairs, environmental protection, disaster prevention, mitigation, poverty alleviation, healthcare, education, tourism, culture, sports at the sub-national level. Now, if we look at Xi's visits, in 2014 and 2018, President Xi Jinping made 2 visits to the South Pacific region and held meetings with the leaders of the PICs having diplomatic ties with China, which again opened a new chapter in the history of the China and Pacific Indian country relations. From, in fact, late May this year to early June, late May to early June in 2022, State Councillor and Foreign Minister Wang Yi had been invited to visit South Pacific Island countries and chair the second China-Pacific Island country Foreign Ministers meeting, which further demonstrates China's commitment to enhancing mutual trust, building consensus, expanding cooperation and deepening friendship with these PICs. In November 2018, President Xi Jinping had paid another state visit to Papua New Guinea this time and had another group meeting with the leader of the PICs having diplomatic ties with China, where China and PIC relations were elevated to a comprehensive strategic partnership featuring mutual respect and common development. These are some of the visuals that we'll show you right here from this particular meeting. And on the other hand, while these were the visits made by the Chinese counterparts, on the other hand, multiple leaders of Fiji, Tonga, Samoa, Vanuatu, and the Federated States of Micronesia, Solomon Islands, Kiribati, PNG, Cook Islands, Niue have visited China as well. Exchanges and cooperation between the government agencies, legislatures, and political parties have flourished ever since. The two sides have established several bilateral and multilateral dialogue mechanisms, including Joint Economic and Trade Committee Agreement, Agriculture Ministers Meeting, and Forum on Fishery Cooperation and Development, series of cooperation mechanisms which include the Reserve of Emergency Supplies, Climate Action Cooperation Center, and Poverty Reduction and Development Cooperation Center. Now, if we take a closer look at the economic ties that have developed between these two sides. Now, the economical perspective revealed that the Chinese side has signed Belt and Road Cooperation MOUs with all the 10 PICs. Additionally, they in fact also signed the Belt and Road Cooperation plans with Papua New Guinea and Vanuatu. Progress has been achieved in practical cooperation such as policy, infrastructure, trade, financial, and people-to-people connectivity. But if we look at the statistics here, that is a very interesting revelation we see, especially from the Chinese side. This is from a period that is spanning from 1992 to 2021. Total trade volume between China and the PICs having diplomatic relations with China grew from $153 million to $5.3 billion, registering an average annual increase of 13% and expanding by over 30 times in 30 years. Another crucial aspect that these ties have had an impact on is security cooperation, or rather military cooperation. Senior defense and military officials of the PICs have paid multiple visits to China and even participated in events such as the Beijing Jiangshan Forum and the Forum for Senior Defense Officials from the Caribbean and South Pacific countries. Now, in September 2015, delegations of Fiji, Papua New Guinea, Tonga, and Vanuatu were invited to China to attend or observe the military parade to commemorate the 70th anniversary of the victory of the Chinese People War of Resistance against Japanese aggression and the World Anti-Fascist War. So China has thus strategically been maneuvering through this region to ensure a strong hold over the Southeast Pacific region. And this development has been closely tracked by two very important nations, including ours, India, and the United States of America, because both nations, among others, have time and again raised concerns over China gaining ground in the Indo-Pacific region, posing serious threats to the two nations militarily and economically.